Alright, stage 6B, final stage of the game, and let's go. But we'll see. So this spell starts off with a Death Fairy, kind of like stage 5. Except now there are 2 of them, and it's considerably more difficult. But it is still static, or at least the blue stuff is static. The red stuff might not be, but it's not really an issue. So you can learn a path through that. And the rest of the stage is not bad. Usually, these red shard bullets just move straight down, so you get in a safe position horizontally, and then you can just move straight up to stream the aim stuff. Sometimes it can kind of trap you in a weird spot, but usually it's pretty okay. And just use Reimu's homing to take out anything you can't reach, that you can't get directly under. And there we go, that should be it, yeah. So now we're to the mid-boss, and it's Erin again, and she has a really hard non-spell that I'm just gonna bomb. And I'm just gonna bomb it twice, actually, because I just can't read these openings quickly enough to dodge this. But that's okay, because her spell card is actually pretty easy. Just start off on the bottom of the screen like this, so some of the familiars go off screen and don't shoot. And it's quite similar to her 6A spell card, except it's a lot easier because the bullets are much easier to read. And now we're to the final boss. No stage portion between the mid-boss and the boss, which is pretty typical for stage 6. And by this point in the game, I like to have at least starting resources, so 2 extra lives and 3 bombs. And if you have a 3rd extra life, you're in great shape. So this is Kaguya Horaisan. She's the final boss of the game. She's a princess from the moon, and she has a lot of attacks, as is typical for the final boss, and I went the wrong way there. This attack can be okay if she's nice to you. It can also be pretty difficult if she's not, and she was pretty nice that time. First spell card is pretty difficult, and I'm just gonna bomb it here, and hopefully that's enough. I should have probably tried to dodge that, and I'm not comfortable with this keyboard, and I moved way too far there. For whatever reason, start at the top of the screen here. I don't know why, but it makes this easier. Something to do with how this aims. Normally I would go through 2 phases and bomb this 3rd one, but if you need to try and capture the 3rd, go to the bottom right, and hopefully I can get through this before this becomes too dense again. Yeah, okay, good. So yeah, normally I would just dodge 2 waves of that and then bomb to be safe. And this spell is pretty hard, but it is doable. It's just these star bullets are really hard to read, yeah. Really hard to read. But anyway, this is the non-spell I said is similar to one of Erin's spells, because it's got these huge bullet spikes coming at you, and you just kind of have to trust that their hitbox is a lot smaller than a DS fight. And it's usually not too bad, but it can get kind of tricky. This is her easiest spell card. It's streaming. It's not... Did I really not move fast enough there? Huh. Weird. Oh well. It is streaming. It's not the easiest streaming in the world, but it is streaming, so it's easier than her other cards. And I really can't believe I failed this. And not on the restreaming part, which is typically where you would fail. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the game lagged or something, because I was pretty sure that I moved in time there. And this one, this non-spell can be really easy. You can sometimes do it where you barely have to move at all, but sometimes it's not easy. Typically you don't want to have to change lanes between those blue things, but I had to there once. Or I don't know if I had to, but I did. This is, I think, her hardest spell card. some waves are dodgeable and some are just really, really hard. But one unfocused bomb is usually enough. So if you can get to that with at least one bomb and one life, you're in great shape. And then if you can get to the first restream on this with your extra life, you're in great shape. So this is also streaming, but this is hard streaming. Going side to side is not that bad, but turning around is really hard. And I got the first one, good. So I've actually got a system for doing this now, which is kind of complicated to explain, but I'll try to do it. And it's that you always turn around between the same set of bullets, and the round bullets are completely static, so you can memorize which colors you go through. And you need to learn the... Oh, I messed up the last turn. Oh well. You need to learn the one before the turn, and then the turn. And I don't know this part, so I might have to... I can do this with only 3 turns. Oh, I didn't have bombs. Oh. I was just planning on bombing that. I would have tried to turn around. Anyway, so this is why you want to preserve time and hit those time goals and save those half hours on each stage. It's because she has extra spells, and she has 5 of them, these end of night spells. And what they do is, each one you fail, if you fail it at the start of the spell, she adds like an hour to the clock. And if you fail it, and that's easy, I can't believe I failed that one. That one is easy. Most of the rest are hard. She has one other easy-ish one. It's not this one. And then if you get if you get deep enough into the spell, it only adds a half hour. Like, that'll only add a half hour to the clock. And once you hit 5 o'clock, she just stops, and that's it. You don't get to face the rest once you hit 5. And there's a huge score bonus for getting through all of these before getting to 5 o'clock, which is why you want to do that. I really don't like this spell because it's the same really tense dodge over and over and over. And I actually captured that. Wow, that makes up for missing the first one. So, a lot of times I will just ram into a bullet straight away on that because I don't like doing that spell. This is the other one that's easy-ish, but it's harder than the first one because it's easy to misread what these holes are, like I almost did there. But that should do it. Yeah, okay, there we go. And then her final spell, which is, I would say, one of maybe 3 spells in the entire game that are harder than Horai Elixir. By the way, these are all survival cards, so don't bother shooting. It just makes things harder to read. And yeah, I messed up there. I've gotten better at that spell, but it is still pretty hard. So yeah, the 2 hardest spells in the game, I think, are the Extra Boss's last spell, and Yuyuko's Last Word, which is a separate thing. It's just a stage practice thing. There's an extra set of spells called Last Words that only appear in stage practice. And all the playable characters have versions too. So Yuyuko has one that's really hard. And that and Moko, the Extra Boss's last spell, I think are the 2 hardest. And then probably this one in Horai Elixir. But anyway, so that's the end of the game, but we still have spell cards that we missed, and let's see, what were they? This Sun, I think, yeah, I'm pretty sure I missed this. So yeah, this one is pretty hard. I think the lasers are pretty static, but like static based on her location, so you can kind of manipulate her movement and learn where the openings are in the lasers. I think. I haven't tried to do it, so but the round bullets are random, so you still have to just sight dodge a lot of stuff. yeah, I failed this one at the end. I kind of hit a pretty difficult wall of red star bullets that I couldn't get through in time. So yeah, it's just those white lasers spawn randomly, so you can't really tell where they're gonna be, and you have to stream those blue arrowheads while dodging this field of red stars, and the stars move really strangely, just like Marisa's. So that makes that kind of difficult. Okay, so Salamander Shield, which I should not have failed, because this is, it's not that easy, but once you kind of get used to it, it's pretty doable, pretty consistently doable. And the trickiest part is the turning around, as with most streaming. This must be an old replay, because I used to do this without unfocusing. Now I do the turn unfocused, because you don't really need to stay focused. You can still damage her quickly enough to end it before you have to turn around a second time. I failed all of her spell cards, didn't I? That's kind of embarrassing. Oh well. So anyway, this one, you just kind of have to look for openings in those stars and then come down to them. So the first couple went okay. That one was pure luck. That was also pure luck. So you have to dodge 6 waves, it looks like, and at least 2 or 3 of those were pure luck. So like, I cannot read 6 waves that in a row. There are some waves I can read and get through, but to get 6 in a row would take a lot of luck. Come on, quit hitting the wrong button. Okay, the final spell, I actually have 2 replays of this, because this is the first time I captured it. You can see the date's pretty old on it. But the other day I went to and was practicing it, because I only ever learned the first turn and then was just kind of winging it after that. But after about 200 tries, I finally worked out a way to get all the way through the spell pretty well, I don't know about consistently. But you saw I almost captured it in the run, and I actually probably would have captured it if I weren't talking, because this requires really, really tight timing. And there are also sound cues for the timing that are really tight, so trying to do it while talking is actually really hard. So here's the thing is, you stream across the first night, and now this is the first thing you look for. Look for that red and the blue bullet, and go through those, and then stream up through that, and it's always the one you go through before the turn, and the 2 you go through during the turn are the same color. So that time it was red and blue. Here it's purple and yellow. So purple and yellow, purple and yellow. Alright, and if you go through this next one, it'll be red and yellow. So you can actually listen for the bullets spawning from the familiars in the center of the screen, and there's a sound cue for when you go based on that, and that's how I was doing it before, and I still use it now because it's really helpful to have the sound cue. But you can wing it doing that. It's just hard to get openings at the right spot, so it helps to learn where you want to make those turns, and you might not necessarily want to use the same ones I do. You might be comfortable doing it a different way, but if you can work out a way that works consistently, it helps a lot. This it? No, those are last words. Yeah, I failed this one miserably. This is this is probably easier than Salamander Shield, actually. And this is another old one, because I'm doing this completely different from how I do it now. Now I start at the bottom of the screen and move up and then restream down. This one apparently I did differently. And I restreamed twice. Yeah, that's why I don't do it this way anymore. The way I do it now, I only restream it once. But once you learn how to restream it, it's not difficult, and it's kind of embarrassing that I failed it. This is pretty good. Oh, this is the wrong one. I captured that. Okay. Failed this one. So yeah, actually I only captured 2 cards her whole fight, including the end of night spells. But 2 end of night spells captured is pretty typical for me, and even just 1 is somewhat typical. It's just usually a different 2 than I actually captured, because that first one I should have captured. So yeah, this one is hard. It's just really hard to read, but once you get into a safe spot, it's safe for that wave, and you don't have to move until the next one. The final spell. I told you it was ridiculously hard. I didn't actually get to the ridiculously hard part. The first part of the spell is actually really difficult, but once you get into a rhythm, you can do pretty well at it, I think. It's really hard because you have different types of boards coming at you turning in different directions, and you'll have like 3 different kinds of bullets on the screen at the same time sometimes. And now this is the hard part. This is just ridiculously hard. And watching it, you don't really get a sense, and the replay is lagging, so it's not showing you how fast that stuff is. That was showing it like 45-ish frames per second, so at 3/4 of full speed. And watching it, you don't get a sense for just how long that last spell lasts. When you're playing it, it feels like forever. Anyway, that is the end of Imperishable Night, at least Lunatic mode, which is what this LP is for. So I did extra on my normal playthrough, so I'm not going to do it again since it's just the same stage, even though I didn't play it that well back then. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.